Welcome, low ego action heroes and phoenixes. I'm Debbie Levitt from Delta CX, and today, to wish everybody a happy new year, I am streaming to both of our channels on YouTube, our old Delta CX channel and our new Delta CX Hive channel, as well as Delta CX Hive on Twitch and my LinkedIn. If you are watching us on the Delta CX YouTube channel, we really don't stream there anymore. I'm happy to see you. Thank you for joining. Please join us. Please come subscribe on the Delta CX Hive YouTube channel. Hello, Ana Lucia. Happy New Year, everybody. This is our usual Wednesday Ask Me Anything, which we now do on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Italy time. And then on Tuesdays, we have a recurring show there. You can always check dcx.to/events and see what I've got planned and when. I've got stuff planned through March. So just want to welcome everybody back to the show. We do have a question ahead of time today, but if there's something you want to ask, the advice is free, worth at least what you've paid. You can send your question to dcx.to/q, or you can put it in the chat. It'll pop up here, and we will add it to our list of questions to talk about. I'm doing better today. I can actually talk and the pain is going away. Good. Ana Lucia was unfortunately sick over the holidays. I'm happy you're feeling better and hopefully will continue to feel better. Let's start with a quick note for everybody who is watching. Again, I want to remind people who might be watching on the Delta CX channel that we just don't stream or post videos there anymore. You're going to find everything pretty much from most of 2024, 2025 and beyond on Delta CX Hive on YouTube. We're doing a lot more stuff on Twitch just because there's no algorithm there. You follow me on Twitch, you know when I go live. It's that easy. My Patreon is now free, so there is only good reasons to join the Patreon. You're going to be the first to know everything. So please join the Patreon. It is free. Let's see. I've got a new site. If you haven't seen me in a while, dcx.to. That's going to be all of the coaching and advising work that I do for individuals and for teams. Throughout 2025, I've been working on being a certified life and personal development coach. So if you have something that isn't therapy that you need help with, I am now a certified life coach. And of course, we abandoned our Slack community. We have an active Discord community. You are welcome to join there, and it is anonymous. So all of these are still with us in 2026. We do have something new that you can find on the dcx.to page of links, because that page always brings you to links to everything. If you're ever not sure how to join the community, where should you follow stuff, dcx.to will dump you on my page of links. And new for 2026, we're going to take the best of our Tuesday streams, our Tuesday webinars, and they're going to be pushed out audio only through podcast platforms. So if you prefer to get your stuff through YouTube, subscribe to Delta CX Hive. And if you prefer to get your stuff through podcast platforms, look for Delta CX Hive on your favorite podcast platform. And Ana Lucia says, I'm having lemon tea with honey to soothe my throat. Good choice. As usual, I am having flavored water, so it is slightly pink. Okay, so let's jump in. That's a few minutes of hello and Happy New Year from me. Obviously, send in your questions if you have them. Let me just also quickly say we have a lot of cool shows coming up. As I've said, I've already planned January, February, and most of March. So next Tuesday so every Wednesday is this show. Next Tuesday is going to be my top secrets for using Claude. And it may work for other AI tools if you prefer other AI tools, but I'm going to talk about some secret things that I know about Claude that you may or may not know that I recommend to do it better. We'll see if Dr. Nick can join next week. I'll double check with him. The Tuesday, January 20th, we're going to do a kind of a revival of something that we did a year ago, which was to ask Claude to be a researcher. Since there's obviously a lot of questions of can AI do research, when we ran this experiment in January 2025, Claude didn't do so well. Well, it's a year later. We're going to run the identical experiment again live on the live stream. I'm not going to prepare for it. We're just going to go for it, and we're going to see how Claude does. Today I made a post about good enough and Mr. Microslop suggesting we lower our standards. Yep, I don't blame you there. A lot of AI slop is AI slop. That's that. Let's see what else we've got planned. Oh yeah, Tuesday, January 27th, we're going to be doing the ROI We Deliver. That is a new exercise that I invented for my upcoming book, Atomic Product Market Fit. That's coming out at the end of February. So a lot of the next couple of months are going to be some sneak previews and some prep for our big book launch. You'll want to join the Patreon for sure. Tuesday the 3rd. Yes, the first Tuesday of every month in our free Discord community, I am doing live portfolio, resume, and CV reviews. Totally free. First come, first served. Check it out. Ana Lucia says, look, we're already going through the good enough mindset, and then he shows up saying we should lower our standards. So this is in response to the Microsoft CEO complaining that people shouldn't call AI slop. And we don't agree. Let's see. Yes. Tuesday, February 10th, I'm going to be giving you another it's not a preview. It's kind of a preview of the Atomic PMF book. It's something I cut from the book and put into a Medium article. And we're going to be talking about PRDs, product requirements documents, and how I think we can improve and evolve those into what I'm calling product PSE strategy documents. So we'll talk about that on February 10th. Tuesday, February 17th, I haven't planned yet. Let's see. No, I did. I think Tuesday, February 17th is the book preview. So the Take Action Tuesday on February 17th will be the book preview. Holy cats. By then it should be coming. And then on Thursday, the 26th of February, we're going to have a book launch party as a live stream. In March, I'm going to be doing a book club, which is free to join. I am going to live stream reading the book from start to finish. I'm going to save those files and I'm going to put them online as the audiobook. So it'll be reading the book completely live and then taking your questions at the end of each session. So we'll read the book in pieces over 8 sessions. Those 8 sessions will then become the audiobook. I'm probably not going to put it on Audible. They take so much money. It's probably better for me to just sell it privately. Ana Lucia says, good. Ana Lucia has a question. This will be our second question since we got one ahead of time, unfortunately, before the new year, and we just didn't stream. So we'll make that our second question today. Let me put that on my list. Thank you. All right. So save. Okay, so that's a lot of what's coming for the next couple of months. And if there's something you would like to hear me go over or teach or talk about, find a way to send that to me through Discord, through LinkedIn, through the Patreon, through anything. Let me know what you would like me to cover, and I'll work on getting that content together. So this was a question that we got previously. Oh, do I press number 4? Do I press number 1? Let's try number 1. Or I don't know, it might slide out on its own. Let's see. I forgot my numbers here. So our first question came in a couple of weeks ago, and it goes like this. Hello, dearest Debbie. Hello, I think I know who you are. How do you advise handling a request to carry out UX research? Oh, great. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Shaiku, asking us on YouTube. Don't forget to make sure you are subscribed to Delta CX Hive, because that is where we do all our streaming. I'm only streaming today to the old Delta CX channel just to tell y'all I am still here. Okay, so Shaiku will be our third question. We're still on our first question, but thank you. We'll get there. How do you advise handling a request to carry out UX research that violates best practices? Of course, I intend to try to gently steer the team to the right path, but in case that's unsuccessful, are the only options to walk away and resign, or go along and therefore actively commit bad UX? I'll ask about how to expunge the stain and guilt of knowingly perpetrating bad UX for my conscience on a future AMA. Well, maybe we can cover both of those right now. So first of all, You don't have to expunge yourself of any sins or stains. We all get caught sometimes in our jobs doing things in non-best practice ways, doing things in ways that are not preferable, and you just have to forgive yourself and do the best you can and hope that next time it's better. You can resign if you feel that is the best action for you to take. I can't tell you. I'm not in your life. I'm not in your shoes. Only you know if resigning is best for you, for your mental health, for your finances, etc. So I can't tell you what you should do there, but what can you do when your team is going to do things that run against best practices? Well, during the research planning, hopefully, if you are the UX researcher, you will hopefully be able to have some influence on the plan for your own research. If the research is happening without you as the researcher or without a researcher at all, but you're aware of best practices, all you can try to do is influence. I have a coaching client who other people at their company were going to go and do research, and they weren't asking for her input, and they didn't care what she thought of the questions, and she showed the questions to me, and the questions were terrible. And I even put the questions into Claude, and I think it was Sonnet 4.5, and I said, hey, some people at my friend's company are going to do some UX research. This is what they plan to ask some of their customers. I'm concerned that these aren't great questions. Can you please use critical thinking? It's okay to tell it like it is, tear this apart, and tell me what's good or bad about these questions. Now, when I asked it that, it tried to make some of the questions sound better than they were. And I realized I had asked it for good and bad. And so it tried to give me good and bad. And then I ended up challenging it on some of the questions they said were good. And Claude was kind of like, yeah, those questions aren't good. I thought I had to find something nice here. So you can always, if there is an AI that people like or trust, you can try to paste the questions in and say, hey, AI, we really want some critical thinking here. It's okay to be harsh. It's okay to tell it like it is. It's okay to tear this apart. We really want to know, are these good research questions? Why or why not? Not are these good, because that's going to bias it towards good. Well, we're concerned that these aren't good research questions. Can you see how our research is going to be flawed because of these questions? So sometimes if you bring in AI, it can be a helpful neutral, mostly neutral party, because then it's not coming from you. Sometimes people say, oh, well, that's just your opinion, or you're a designer, you don't really know, or you're just the research volunteer, you don't really know, or we want to do it this way, or the book we read said these are the right questions to ask. Feel free to bring in a different authority, which for some people could be AI. Ana Lucia has a follow-up question. Okay, so let me copy and paste this, but we can put that on the list as a follow-up, and then we'll get to the other questions. Okay, so it really ultimately depends on your relationship with that team. When the team knows I'm an expert researcher and I have a stance on this, I'm usually comfortable saying, hey, there are things here that don't match best practices. We could talk to 3 people. 3 is better than 0, but we should be talking to 8 to 12 or even 15 or whatever. Here's why. And we should just be careful, because in speaking to 3, it might not be a representative sample. And I'm just giving everybody a warning here. I'm going to document my warnings, blah, blah, blah. So I think it really depends on your relationship with the team, how much you openly or proactively say, this is not best practices, and here's what we should do instead and why. And you can always leave the door open and try to soften it a little bit. Hey, if that's something we can't do this time around, let's try to do the best practices next time around, because if we're doing research, we might as well do it as well as possible, and we don't want the risks of flawed research. I think that would be some of my answers. Let's shift over to Ana Lucia's follow-up question. How would you deal with being pushed to do things that are actually bad? By bad, I mean using psychology against the users to make them more addicted, make them waste money, or doing deceptive patterns. So this is a common problem where we have to weigh our personal values, our personal morals, our personal ethics against what's happening in our company. So first, I would probably push back on that a bit, and I would usually try to invoke if the company has stated values or if the company has stated ethics or things like that. I would probably bring that up. I would say, hey, look, our ethics or our values, here's our own webpage. Our values say, we're customer centric. We put the customers first. We are fair. We are whatever it is. Hey, we're actually trying to build something that's going to make people addicted. We're trying to use people's psychology against themselves. And that's something we can do, but I want to ask if we should do it. The right question isn't, can we do it? The right question is, should we do it? Is this in line with our ethics? Is this in line with our values? Sure, we can do it, and maybe the lawyer said we can do it, but will bloggers and YouTubers and other people, will there be backlash because people will not be happy with this? Could we lose customers because people feel manipulated or are manipulated? Hey, KB, how you going? It's been a while. So obviously, if your team says, no, it doesn't matter, we think this is fine, legal said we can do it, whatever, it's important for this to be addictive, we read a book about why you want to make people addicted to things, then it's up to you whether or not you say, I'm going to ask to be transferred off this project, or I'm going to quit the company completely. Some people don't feel like they can do that. So this is where we have to, this is almost life coaching territory, but this is where we have to take a look at our values and decide what's best for us when we are being asked to do something that is unethical, immoral, inhumane, illegal. So I think that's going to be up to each person because not everybody shares the same ethics or morals or values. It's going to be a spectrum. People feel differently about things. And some people will feel like, I can't leave my job. I need this money or whatever. And they might have to do these things. And then they have to reconcile that with themselves. Some people might decide, I'm going to bring this to our legal department. This doesn't seem right. I'm going to bring this to our HR. I'm going to bring this above me. So it really depends on a lot of things. You and your personality and how comfortable you are pushing back against things. And if there are people at your company who would want to know that you're doing psychologically unsafe things to manipulate customers, which can give you a short win when the customer does the thing and a longer term loss when customers feel manipulated or people start writing articles about you, etc. So Ana Lucia, what do you think about that? Did I answer that, or do you want me to go further with that or cover more? And everybody, questions are free, and we're just making a list of them. We've got Shaiku after Ana Lucia's next question, so if you've got a question, please, you can post it in the chat and it'll come up on the screen, or you can use the anonymous question asking mechanism at dcx.to/q. The downside to that is it's a little slow. Sometimes it doesn't email me for 15 or 20 minutes and you think I'm ignoring you, and I promise I'm not. Anyway, let's move on to the next question, and if Ana Lucia has a follow-up, we'll get that in later. Okay, so Ana Lucia says, as a senior in this field, thank you, do you have any opinion on user interviews being bought by user testing? So I didn't know about that. Ana Lucia says, you're right. I'm here wondering what I would do. We need a job, but that would kill me inside. I don't know if I'd be able to deal with it. And I've been thinking while I was answering your other question, I don't think I've ever done anything that I found unethical. The first time I got faced in my career in 1995 with something that I found on the line for me, I quit. But that was 1995 and I had options and that was different. And so, yeah, but in general, I think I wouldn't do that, and I would push hard against it, and I would take it up the chain, and I might even find company lawyers. I'd probably push pretty hard against things, but that's my nature. Okay, back to this question. Do you have an opinion on user interviews being bought by user testing? I think I didn't know about that. I think I'm not paying attention, and I didn't know about that. User interviews. It's funny, I started typing user interviews into Google. I know you can't see my, into DuckDuckGo. You can't see my screen right now, but the first thing that came up was user interviews scam. Why is that being searched a lot? User interviews. Oh, yes, the panel service. Okay, right. I used to use this a long time ago. I'm not against using it, but I haven't used it in a long time. It's recent, 2 or 3 hours old. Okay, I didn't know. So thanks to Ana Lucia for giving me the hot off the press news. So what do I think of that? User testing has been on a purchasing spree for years. User testing was User Zoom. They bought user testing. I don't know why they kept the user testing name and didn't keep the user Zoom name, but it was originally User Zoom, and they've been buying companies for a while. I think they bought, just from memory, I think they bought Validately. Let's see, I would have to search this. User Zoom, I can't spell acquisitions. It's the hardest thing for me to type for some reason. User Zoom acquisitions, help. Test to pick, Enjoy HQ. Yes, we knew about that. Enjoy HQ, which is like a Dovetail competitor. What users do, which I don't remember. User Zoom bought user testing and then bought kept the name user testing. Let's write this down. Now I'm going to ask it for user testing acquisitions. I'm searching online. User testing buys user interviews. 1.3 billion. It doesn't seem like something that's worth that, but, it's hard for me to say. Let's see who else they bought. Yeah, now I'm just getting the latest news because it went out on the wire. So, yeah, so in my opinion, they've just been on a buying companies spree for some years now, which is something you can do when you have a lot of money. Both user testing and user Zoom tend to charge companies a minimum. Last time I looked at their pricing, it was like a minimum of $30,000 a month, which I didn't think was worth it. But that's just one person's opinion. You might find it worth it. And so I think from a business perspective, it might make sense for them to buy a panel service rather than try to become a panel service. But at the same time, I would think if they became a panel service, that would be okay. But then again, they might be going for the whole, hey, lots of people use user interviews who don't use user testing. And if we're now the parent company, maybe we can bring them over to user testing. But I'm old enough to remember 15 years ago when you could do user testing for $49 a test. So I used to use them all the time because you could run 10 tests for $500 and clients were thrilled that it was so inexpensive and you could do some great stuff in user testing. But then when they decided they wanted to compete against user Zoom, I think they cut that pricing and then all of a sudden it was $26,000 a month or something unaffordable for most people. So yeah, I mean, all of these exist in a sphere that I don't exist in. And if I need to use user interviews again, I would, but it wouldn't make me want to use user testing or user Zoom for anything. It's too expensive and I'd probably be more likely to use UX Tweak, not sponsored. Ana Lucia says, it's interesting. I never heard anyone in the community talking about user Zoom. That's because when they merged with user testing, they kept the user testing name. I've heard people talking about Maze, for example. I even saw reviews online. People weren't impressed with it. I tried to use Maze many years ago, 6 years ago, and they couldn't handle actual prototypes, which is where I tend to do my prototyping, so Maze wasn't an option for me. That's how I got into UX Tweak in the early days. Sorta seems to be posting stars. I don't know why. Hello. UX Tweak was one of the few that would really let you use an actual prototype. So that's how I got into UX Tweak, and I stayed with them for a while. I haven't needed them lately, but if I did, I would use them. So I have a positive impression of UX Tweak. I had a bad Userlytics. It was either, I think it was Userlytics. I had a bad. Who owns them now? Userlytics. Oh no, Userlytics is still independent, evidently. Yes, Userlytics Corporation. Okay, so, and then I think for a while I was using Validately, which I thought UserZoom bought. Yes, Validately is now it was UserZoom and is now user testing. So Validately was another company that they've bought along the way. So that's 5 or 6 companies that UserZoom/user testing has bought in the last 6, 7, 8 years. So I'm not surprised that these companies are coming together. I am surprised at the $1.3 billion valuation for user interviews, because it generally seems like something that's not that hard to reproduce and compete against. I'll just put it that way. Okay, interesting question. Thank you. Now let's get to Shaiku, whoever you are. Here we go. So let's put this question up. And of course, if you're watching live, you are welcome to answer other people's questions. I'm always curious about everybody's opinions. Ana Lucia says, I wonder if they're buying things like crazy to end competition. If there's no competition, they'll have a monopoly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember I thought user testing had their own panel, but I guess that there must have been. I didn't read the press releases or anything, so I don't know why they claim they're buying them, but these are just some of my guesses. Okay, Shaiku, who has waited patiently, thank you, says, what are your views about UX design in the era of AI? So there's certainly how I wish things were going, and there's how things seem to be going. So in my opinion, I don't love a lot of AI for design. I don't think AI is great at design yet. I think there are some things that AI can do well. I hear some good things about some of the AI features in Figma related to design systems, though I haven't tried those personally. So I tend to feel like it was a link to a user interview blog post announcing that. Okay, sorry, Sorda Dagny, or I don't know if that's Dagny or Dagny. Yeah, you can't post links in YouTube or Twitch or whatever, so I blocked it out as stars. But yeah, I looked it up, and a lot of stuff came up in my search results, but I didn't want to talk too much about it if people don't care. I think it doesn't affect most of us. If you want to use user interviews, you will. If they end up raising the prices to pay for the $1.3 billion acquisition, you won't use it. I think I'll just put it that way. But yeah, thank you, Dagny, for trying to get involved in the conversation. Sorry you got blocked there. So I think, to me, if AI can help a designer, why not use it? But a lot of design that I've seen so far coming from AI hasn't been great. There are some average things that it does okay, but there are a lot of things I thought it didn't do well. I played around with Replit a bit, where I allowed it to do the UX and UI design of an idea that I was playing with, where I didn't care much about the UI yet, and I was just trying to see some of the idea come to life and compare that to how I might use something like Axure. By the way, Axure seems to be building in AI features, and I haven't looked at that yet, so that's going to be something for me to look at and maybe do a show about at some point, but they seem to be cooking up something with AI. So design in the era of AI, I would still like designers to have jobs. I would still like designers to own and control design. I would still like designers to take the time to understand design, to understand Gestalt principles, to understand psychology, to understand information architecture. It never gets old. You need to know it. So I would still want to see designers knowing the basics, because to me those are the basics, and to be able to do that work with or without AI. If AI is making your work better, use it. If AI is not making your work better, don't use it. That's kind of where I tend to be. Shaiku says there's lots of things that AI is taking care of in UX and UI design, such as user testing, UI design, and motion design. I would not allow AI to do user testing. Remember that something that AI can do doesn't mean it's doing it well. And so I would be very nervous about AI doing user testing, because now we're getting into research. And that makes me concerned about how the research was planned, recruited, executed, analyzed, synthesized, etc. I don't want to give AI user testing yet. User testing is a lot more complicated than some designers understand, and certainly more complicated than some product managers understand. So, Shaiku says, I feel it's the death of point-and-click interfaces. Can you tell me more about that? So I understand that certainly with design systems, it feels like there's a lot more that AI can do. Motion design feels like there's a lot more that AI can do. I do think that AI is more likely to kill a design job or take away from a design job than from a research job, just because of what those tasks are and where we are in early 2026 with AI. Definitely KB said, I see a lot of articles pushing becoming a user participant as side hustle money. My guess is people are Googling it to see if it's a scam and whether or not it pays fairly. That could be. Voice-based interfaces. You're going to have to explain that a little bit more. I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean the idea that there's an interface that speaks to you? I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, I've done conversational stuff since 2016, but I'm not sure if we're talking about the same thing, and I don't want to assume. So UX in the era of AI, I think our jobs, what's on my news? I think our jobs are in trouble, and that's, of course, one of many reasons why I published my Life After Tech book, to help everybody think about and plan and take action on what kind of work they might do when they can no longer get a job in tech. Tech doesn't want you anymore, or you don't want to work in tech anymore. So don't forget to work on your other areas of income. I know I am. If you're in the Discord, you've been following along with some of my non-tech career adventures. Discord's free, everybody. So again, my general opinion about AI is there's lots that it can do, but is it doing it well? In some cases, AI does things well, and in other cases, AI does things not well. And that's where we have to use our critical thinking. We have to correct it. We have to challenge it. We have to babysit it. I don't feel like we should just tell AI, hey, design a website that looks like this, and then publish it and go. I think that we should still be using our human brains to make sure that these are good designs, good quality, good accessibility. AI sometimes doesn't get accessibility right. You can use motion design, but then you're giving a middle finger to people with certain disabilities who cannot do motion. It sets off physical health problems for them. So let's not use motion design because we think we're cool. This isn't 2014. We should only be using these things when absolutely necessary, if at all, because motion design often isn't accessible. It can trigger problems with people with certain conditions and diseases. I definitely don't want AI doing research or user testing. I do have AI help me with some of my research analysis and synthesis because I think AI is good with data. We've got an anonymous question coming in. Excellent. I'll grab that. And we've got a show about that. I think it was episode 270 or something like that. So yeah, I think there's room for AI in some of our work, but, it's a nice question. Thank you for asking. But we have to still be smart about it. We are still humans with brains, with critical thinking, and we have to take a good look at when is it helping us and when is it hurting us. We have a really cool question. Thank you to whoever asked it anonymously. I will put it up now and make it as big as I can because it's a neat question. Okay, hopefully that's nice and big. And the question says, this came in anonymously. Thank you to the person who sent it. How do you keep feeling passionate about UX? Oh, Ana Lucia says, I refused a job offer the other day where they wanted to do research with the stakeholders and internal team only. Yeah, if this is enterprise software and it's only going to be used by the internal team, that can be okay. They are your customers. But if you have external customers and they're not going to let any research happen with them, that is certainly a red flag. Okay, how do I keep feeling passionate about UX? This one goes back to things you would have learned about me if you read the Life After Tech book. Let me ask you a little question first. To everybody who's watching live, and you can give me some emojis on this, you can give me a text answer. What is your life purpose? Or if you're not comfortable sharing it, do you know your life purpose? Do you feel like you know why you are on this planet? I do. I'll give everybody a minute or so to see if they want to contribute to that question. Do you feel like you know your life purpose, and would you like to share it? I'm going to go over to our LinkedIn and see if people are pressing emojis. I just got an ad. You may have covered this, but I read an article about audio being the next thing and this being the end of displays. OpenAI is trying to create. Okay. KB, I'll make that our next question. And Ana Lucia says they wanted someone to run workshops, brainstorm sessions, gather insights. Yeah, that's just kind of the worst version of design thinking. So KB will discuss that one next. Sarah says, be happy and be of service with the skills I have. Love it. Anybody else feel like they know their life purpose? And you could just say, yes, I know it if you don't want to share what it is. But I'm curious if people feel like they know it. LinkedIn, I see a few of you watching live. Anybody want to leave a comment? I know you're usually about 45 seconds delayed or so, which is one of the many reasons I try to get you to join me on Twitch. Twitch does have ads every half hour or so, but generally better. Yeah, I know mine, helping others. Okay, cool. So we'll see if anybody else contributes and adds their life purpose. But the answer to this question is a cousin of my life purpose. And to me, I describe my life purpose as being a catalyst to others. And I explain that usually by saying, I like to help push people's boats out and make sure they know how to row them. And so it makes sense that I'm here trying to help people, here trying to teach people. I'm writing books, trying to help people and teach people. I'm becoming a life coach because I want to help people find their own path and their own better ways and push their boats out and know how to row them. The thread that tends to run across everything that I do, if you take a look at it, is pretty much not the money, because I'm certainly not benefiting financially for most of the things I do, but it's usually the sense of helping others. And we're all saying helping others, but for me, I like to specifically say I'm a catalyst. It's not just that I want to help you, but I want to spark whatever is going on for you. And I'm not trying to take credit. I'm not trying to insert myself into it. I am the catalyst. And from there, hopefully you can make magic happen and you don't have to rely on me. Like talk about, it's almost full circle from where we started. I don't want you to feel addicted to me. I don't want you to feel unhealthily codependent on me. I want you to watch my stuff because you like my stuff, but I want people to feel like, cool, Debbie taught me some stuff and now I can go out and do it. Definitely, KB says, that's funny. I've always thought of myself as a catalyst, like I'm an enzyme looking for a substrate to bind to. Exactly. I was a chem major for a while in college, in university. Totally agree. Whenever I say catalyst, I see enzyme substrate, and I'm totally with you there on the visualization. So, and I always say that I think my community tends to attract a lot of like-minded people. We tend to have strong personalities. We tend, in the Delta CX Hive community, we tend to have caring people. We tend to have supportive people. We tend to have critical thinkers. We tend to have people not afraid to challenge themselves or each other, but also really genuinely care, true empathy, not workshop fake hashtag empathy. So yeah, I am passionate about UX because good UX helps people. Good UX makes something in your work or life better to use, easier to use, more accurate, faster, more pleasing, more delightful, less awful, less crappy, less frustrating, more fine-tuned, more streamlined, more optimized. So it's easy to be passionate about UX because when UX is done well by anybody who does it well, we are making something better for somebody. And let's not forget to add to that list more accessible. Accessibility is important. So, yeah, I hope that answers that. Thank you for an interesting discussion question. So it's 7:41 p.m. my time. We usually do this show until 8 p.m. or until we run out of questions. So if there aren't any other questions, we can certainly... Oh, no, there was a question. I wrote it down. Let's go get it. This was KB's question. Because I like this question because... Well, I've got a reason for liking this question. So let's get KB's question on the air. Paste. Oh, wrong direction. I need to make it smaller. There we go. Yes. Okay. Ana Lucia says, I think one of the things that usually fails in tech is that tech workers are shielded from the impact of their work. They don't see if it helped others or not. Yeah, sometimes we don't see how it ended up. Or how it got implemented or things like that. But we can always try to research and design and write and create things that we are hoping will be helpful and positive. KB says, for my purpose, I find that I found the most meaning when I'm thinking about the border between physical and mental. Things that are purely one or the other tend to drain me. Jobs where I've done doing process design and having to think about the personalities involved, blend of physical and mental, those felt the best. Thank you for sharing that. Super cool. Sarah says, thank you so much for everything you do and share. I'm going through some challenges at the moment, but as soon as I can, I'll buy you a hell of a good coffee. Sarah, you do not have to buy me a coffee. First of all, I drink decaf. Second of all, if you're going through some challenges, would you please consider possibly my life coaching side? dcx.to will explain that, and the first call is free. You don't have to do anything after that if you don't like it. But if the challenges are not trauma and mental health and better for therapy, I would love to see if we can bring them into the life coaching side. But you know, buying me a coffee is optional. I think many of you know that I don't do this for the money. I love when the money comes in, but I don't do it for the money. So, you know, save your money, buy my next book. It'll be out real soon. Okay, let's take a look at KB's comment, which I think we can turn into an interesting discussion. KB said, I just got an ad, which was in Twitch, because Twitch shows ads. And you may have covered this, but I read an article about audio being the next big thing, and this being the end of displays, LOL. OpenAI is trying to create an audio-only device to compete with Alexa. Okay, so I have many opinions because I started in conversational design in 2016. That is now 10 years. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ana Lucia says, UX is still an area where we see that impact because we talk with users, we bridge things. But people like devs and business people never have that kind of human touch during their workday. I saw this where I used to work, and we decided to take devs with us once in a while to clients for them to see their work in action. Super agree. Yeah, so is everything going to be voice and the end of displays? First of all, not accessible. If you have any sort of speech or language or cognitive or hearing issue, you need an interface. It might be better for you to type than for you to speak or listen. We also know that AI does not yet speak every language on the planet. I think Claude last told me it speaks 12. That's not a lot of languages. So if you create an audio-only interface, then it's only for the languages you happen to speak, which could leave people out. Ooh, the game show is on and I've got to write down the words. There's a word-based Italian game show and I've been messing with Claude Opus because I have a few extra credits this month. And I've been giving it the word clues and seeing if it can solve the word puzzle. So excuse me, I'm going to be half distracted as we talk about this because I can see the TV in my peripheral vision and I'm going to write down the words and give it to Claude afterwards. I see another anonymous question coming in. Thank you for that. We'll get to it after we finish talking about this one. So, do I think audio-based devices will exist? Yes. Do I think it's going to be the end of interfaces? No. It wasn't the end of interfaces in 2016 when we had Google Home and Amazon Echoes and all these other things. It did not end interfaces. And so I think that these things will exist and these companies will create them and some people will like them, but I don't think that they're going to end that. Okay, writing down the words. For example, I don't know if you know this, but the Claude app on my phone, they added conversational stuff to Claude months ago. So I can't remember. I think I have mine set on British male voice, and I think I have it set on fast. So let's try it. Hey Claude, I am live streaming and we are having a conversation about whether or not voice capabilities in AI might mean the end of displays and interfaces. What do you think? I pressed send, but it's spinning. Let's see. Oh. You got cut off. It cut me off in the middle of what I was saying, and Claude literally saying to me, hey, you got cut off mid-thought there. Were you about to say whether voice live streaming sounds fun? Let me write down these words. Mano scena deposito. I got to see later if Claude Opus can solve this. Pier Mario, will you keep an eye on what the word ends up being? Yes. So we can mess with Claude later? Okay, and pietra. Contro mano scena deposito pietra. What do you think it is? Okay. The holidays were fun. My mom kept saying she couldn't understand me. Okay, let's try this again. I'm going to press a different button in Claude and put it in the sound conversational mode. Sorry about that. I got cut off. I was trying to ask you what you thought about the idea that voice interfaces like this might mean the end of displays or text interfaces.
Ha! The end of displays. That's like saying the telephone was going to replace writing. Voice is awesome for some things, but terrible for others. Try reading code out loud or navigating a complex spreadsheet by voice. Different tools for different jobs.
British. Yeah, I said it on British. It has some options. So
the bit of butter Betty bought was bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter.
Let me turn this down. So Claude right now does have some different choices of voices, and slow, normal, and fast. That was normal. So yeah. So basically you can see Claude disagrees, especially since it sees the opportunity for us to please note what the contestant answers. Claude always wants to know that. So Claude doesn't agree, especially since there's going to be a lot of other uses like code. But I will say that I have said to Claude that I wish I could replace my Google Assistant, because I have an Android phone, with Claude. Google Assistant, I find really outdated, not fun to use, does weird stuff, seems behind the times. So I wish that Claude could be more of that kind of phone-based assistant when I want to say, hey, put something in my calendar, or hey, remind me in 10 minutes of this. Like I feel like Claude would get me better than Google Assistant. Like when I ask Google Assistant to search for something, it gives me one search result. And so often it's wrong and not relevant. And then I'm like, great, that was meaningless. KB says, I forgot to mention that one of their main selling points for audio only was that it would right the wrong of screens. For example, creating a fractured user experience where your eyes are pulled in a multitude of directions. Yeah, but if you look at a lot of AI interfaces, your eye isn't pulled in a lot of directions. It's a very vertical, linear conversation. One voice, one direction. Like you said, limited use cases. Found it funny they're trying to convey, we will correct our UX mistakes. It doesn't even make sense. AI is not difficult to follow. It's chat bubbles. I said this, it said that. I said this, it said that. Or if you're asking it for images, I said this, it said that, it gave me an image. Now I don't do image generation, but again, that's I think that doesn't make sense. So again, I think there could be some use cases where it turns into a sort of assistant where you can ask it for stuff. But one of the things we ran into in 2016 when I worked on that conversational design project was there's a lot of stuff that voice just doesn't make sense for. I can't say, Claude, buy me a pair of shoes. My foot is all different sizes in all different manufacturers. My foot is really flat. How is it going to know where my foot fits? I can't say, Claude, buy me an Easter dress that's pink. What shade of pink? What style of dress? I have a very weird body shape, which none of you can see because I'm always from here up, but I do. And it's hard for me to fit into female clothes, which is why I don't bother, and I buy a lot of men's clothes. And so Claude can't do that, no matter how smart it is. Ana Lucia says, I also disagree. I don't have to go far to find someone who would have trouble with that. My mom, she can't hear me properly if I don't talk in front of her. She's hearing impaired. Taking out the displays would set her behind in years. KB says, I think the comparison is more the whole using a computer experience rather than a single instance, like a browser with multiple tabs, site with multiple ads. Yeah, but this sounds like we're trying to solve a problem that nobody really has. I've never heard someone go like, gosh, I really can't stand having a browser open with a few tabs while I get a task done. I think it's a little bit of a solution in search of a problem. All right, let's look at our anonymous question, and then we're going to wrap up for today. Okay, so our last question, let's get it on the YouTube description. Did we learn what the contestant said?
Oh, no.
No, okay. Okay, so here we go. And again, if you are catching me on the old Delta CX YouTube channel, thank you. Thank you for joining me. We don't stream to Delta CX anymore. We are using Delta CX Hive for almost the last 2 years. Please subscribe there, or just join us on Twitch, a much better platform, because no algorithms. If I go live on Twitch, you will know. Okay, this question says, sorry if you already mentioned it. I will look into your book as well. But I'm curious, when you say out of tech, do you mean different kind of office job or completely different sectors like manual work? I joke sometimes with my boyfriend that we should be learning plumbing or shoemaking or other manual jobs. But somehow it also feels sock-hosed. I'm not sure what that word is. Sorry, to people who have studied and work in office jobs, like entering this other type of stuff while still working your office job while you can. So basically, my Life After Tech book, which is on Amazon, and you can find it on the dcx.to site for PDF and EPUB. It's not picky. Basically, valore. Ooh. Okay, sorry, I'm writing down what the contestant said. The Life After Tech book assumes that tech jobs might not last long between AI and corporate greed, leading to a lot of layoffs and other things. technically beyond that, you can look into working wherever you want. I think we need plumbers. There might be office jobs. There might be retail jobs. There might be cooking jobs. There might be opportunities for you to start your own business. I predict a future where we are going to provide more services to each other. Let's say I live near Ana Lucia. Ana Lucia is going to help me with a little bit of occupational therapy, and I'm going to give Ana Lucia some life coaching. Yeah, I think we're going to go back to a lot of services that we provide for each other. But again, anything you can do that is stable and makes money is a great direction to consider going in. You might go in multiple directions. I'm looking at multiple things at the same time, not just life coaching. I'm still trying to work in tech, but I'm also doing other things as well. So yeah, you can work in an office, please do. You can work in a cafe, please do. Someone told me that their partner just quit some tech job and is a barista and is much happier. To me, any stable job that allows you to pay your bills, that you don't completely hate and isn't complete. Oh, calcare, look at that. He missed it. And you missed it too. What did you say again, honey?
I said chiave.
You said chiave. Okay. All right. And the Italian game show is over. And I will see if Claude Opus can get it. In fact, I'll do that while we're all talking in case Claude Opus can get it while we're talking, and we can laugh at that. So yeah, ultimately Life After Tech encourages you to go in whatever directions you can, whatever directions you want in, to experiment with different things, to plant seeds and see what you can come up with. So let's see. Contro. Mano. Scena. Deposito. Pietra. Let's see what Claude comes up with. See if they get the Italian game show answer. Sarah says, the more I learn about cybersecurity, the more I want to go analog and do art. Yeah, and again, if you can make some money or full-time money with art, sure. For some people, they don't want to go into the thing they're most passionate about because they're worried they'll lose some of that passion because now it's work. So, but again, try it. Who knows? You know? Who the heck knows? Uh-oh. Claude cannot get this one. It's going with morta. Bless you, mother-in-law. Okay, Claude got it wrong. Womp womp. It's okay. It's a hard game show. So look, I hope I can keep working in tech. Right now I don't have a job. Please hire me. Please let me do some consulting for you. But I would also be happy to do coaching. I would be happy to do karaoke DJing. I'd be happy to combine them and make some money from each. So I think that we should just be open to what else there might be, and we should start preparing now, because I read recently that functional unemployment is at 25% in some European countries. In America, that's a very high number. It doesn't match what people are reporting officially, but we also know the official reports are manipulated. So I think we got to think about going in some new directions. Yes. So thank you for that cool question. And we're going to wrap up, but I do this every Wednesday. So if you have more questions, if there's things you want to turn into discussions, you want my advice or opinions, always free. Feel free to bring those questions. If you want to ask a question, you can ask it 24 hours a day at dcx.to/Q. I save them. I hold on to them. They'll be among the first questions next time we do this. And I will go check if Dr. Nick can join us next week. And with that, I will start playing our song. And I hope to see everybody at Take Action Tuesday. Take Action Tuesday will be a live stream with some of my secrets on how I get the most out of Claude here in January 2026, subject to change in the future. That will be the topic. So especially if you have better use of AI or Claude questions, bring those questions, and we'll open up a Claude and we'll see what we can do. So thanks, everybody, and I will catch you all soon. Bye. Be well. Feel better.